It's the 16th of April 2015. I'm Sonali Wanika-Baduge.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Hello, good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News. Let's start with a look at the headlines. Governor of the Central Bank provides statement to the Bribery Commission. Somawan Samarasinha resigns from the JVP. Rohita Begunawardena removed from the SLFP Central Working Committee. Veteran musician Nimal Mendes passes away.
The Governor of the Central Bank, Arjuna Mahendran, was summoned to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today.
The Bribery Commission says that a statement was recorded from the CBSL Governor this morning. The Governor of the CBSL, Arjuna Mahendran, has become an epicenter of discussion in the political arena as well as the media recently.
On to another top story tonight. Reports say that the former leader of the JVP, Somawan Samarasinha, has decided to resign from the party. The former leader had said this to a group of print media journalists. Newsfirst contacted Somawan Samarasinha to confirm the statement.
Speaking to Newsfirst, Somawan Samarasinha noted that he had reached a decision, adding that he had informed several print media institutions of his decision. Newsfirst also contacted the propaganda secretary of the JVP with regards to the resignation of the former leader and secretary of international relations of the JVP, Somawangsa Amarasinghe. Comrade Somawangsa Amarasinghe has taken a decision to resign from the JVP. This decision was a personal decision made by him. He did not notify the party of this decision. As a party, however, we are not in agreement with this decision because we are of the stance that Comrade Somawangsa Amarasinghe should remain with us in the party. His intervention and his guidance is essential to this party. Therefore, we are in no way in agreement with his decision. This in no way implies that there is a certain division or an internal issue within the JVP. It is just a personal decision made by him to leave the party. However, we will intervene as much as possible to keep Comrade Somawangsa Amarasinghe with us in the party. We hope to discuss this matter with him and try and change his decision in order to keep him in the party because his intervention is essential.
The 5 MPs who were removed from the SLFP Central Committee say that they will take legal action against their removal. This was stated after MP Rohita Abegunawardena received a letter informing him that he too was removed from the SLFP Central Committee.
The letter informing the former minister of his removal from the Central Committee was received this morning. The letter, signed by the President in his capacity as the leader of the SLFP, says that Abegunawardena's membership was terminated as the former minister did not comply with the decisions taken by the Central Committee. MPs Bandula Gunawardena, TB Ekanayaka, SM Chandrasena and Salinda Disanayaka were previously removed from the SLFP Central Committee. MP Rohita Abegunawardena expressed the following views.
We hope to take steps after discussing with the 5 members who were removed.
A meeting got underway this evening at the Presidential Secretariat with the participation of constituent parties of the United People's Freedom Alliance to draft a resolution on electoral reform. The meeting is being held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena.
Reports say the electoral reform proposals of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party are being submitted to the constituent parties of the UPFA at this meeting. The SLFP Central Committee has adopted the resolution calling for the introduction of a new electoral system. President Maithripala Sirisena has also appointed a 5-member committee to explore the matter. SLFP sources say the committee has focused its attention on increasing the number of MPs and an electoral system that would ensure majority representation. The Elections Commissioner has proposed that the number of MPs be increased to 250. This would comprise of 160 MPs elected on the first past-the-post system, 5 MPs elected in line with the proportional representation system, 60 MPs elected at the district level, and 25 MPs appointed from the national list.
As member appointed by the SLFP, we held discussions with the rest of the group of MPs of the SLFP appointed to look into the new electoral system. We handed in our proposals to the SLFP leaders and it is due to be produced to the leader of the UPFA, including the President. Discussions will be held with the rest of the party subsequently.
On a prior occasion, a committee headed by MP Dinesh Gunawardena studied the possibility of introducing an electoral system suitable for the country. Given the current trend, what will be the fate of these proposals?
The electoral system produced by us as the SLFP is an extension to the system previously produced by MP Dinesh Gunawardena. They have only taken the fundamentals of what was presented in our report. When acting in line with these fundamentals, there needs to be constitutional amendment and electoral boundaries need to be amended. The constitution of the House, that is the number of seats for first past the post, proportional representation and national list, is still unclear. Therefore, we are still unable to say what has been presented with any certainty. It is only the fundamental that exists.
The leader of the Tamil National Alliance, MP R. Sambandhan, expressed the following views with regard to the attempt to change the electoral system. He was speaking in Trincomalee today.
There is still no decision on the reform to the electoral system. Different suggestions have been made, but a final decision has not been reached. When a final decision is taken, we are ready to support it.
Moving on to other local news, the new Sama Samaja party said in Colombo today that in the attempt to introduce a new electoral system, the salient features of the old electoral system should be taken into consideration.
The proportional representation system is very good. This could be viewed as a triumph. We will not let anyone change the proportional representation system. That is a matter we should go to war for, because J.R. Jayawardena brought in the preferential voting system. This needs to change. You must abolish the preferential voting system. However, the proportional representation system is a right that was bestowed to us by J.R. If the United National Party is attempting to change this system, we will have to state that the UNP is an unpatriotic party.
Kalpitiya Beach Resort PLC has convened an extraordinary general meeting to be held on the 8th of May to apprise shareholders on the current position of the company and an alternate course of action with regard to Citrus Kalpitiya Hotel Development Project. This follows a directive from the Securities and Exchange Commission on the 20th of March.
In the directive issued on the 20th of March this year, the SEC noted that Kalpitiya Beach Resort PLC had raised 283.5 million rupees from the public in November 2011, with the funds intended to finance the construction of Citrus Kalpitiya, as stated in the prospectus. The directive was triggered by what was termed by the SEC as an inordinate delay in the construction of the hotel. The SEC points out that in a previous disclosure, the company had also stated that the construction of the resort would commence from December 2011, with commercial operations commencing in early 2015. The directive from the SEC expressed grave concern over the company's failure to complete construction within the timeframe specified in its prospectus. The SEC directed the company to pass a resolution specifying an alternative course of action with regard to funds collected through the IPO on or before the 10th of May 2015. It is against this backdrop that the company issued notice yesterday of an EGM to be held on the 8th of May 2015. In the proposed resolution, the shareholders could agree to consider courses of action including 1. Await the new government's vision and intent to implement the development plans for Kalpitiya with clear timelines so that the company may review the appropriate time to commence the project. 2. Continue to explore possible investor interests that would negate externalities so that the company would not be dependent on Kalpitiya destination development as promised in the past by the government. 3. Consider partners who would create unique marketable products that will further ensure occupancy as a standalone hotel, such as a golf course and theme parks. And fourthly, to explore the feasibility of an alternative location within Sri Lanka and the Maldives as an alternate destination to Kalpitiya for a tourism project. A Google search for Kalpitiya Beach Resort PLC would lead you to the website of Citrus Leisure, also a public quoted company. Under the Our Hotels tab, you would find links to Citrus Hikkadua and Citrus Waskadua, the other two hotels operated by the company, while there is also a non-functional link to Citrus Kalpitiya. Data for Kalpitiya Beach Resort PLC on the website of the Colombo Stock Exchange shows that while the stock price reached an all-time high of 24 rupees, at the close of trading today, the stock price was 3 rupees and 90 cents. In spite of the fact that the SEC notes in its letter that construction was to begin in December 2011, 3.5 years later, the satellite image of the area from Google Earth shows the current state of the property. Our reporter confirmed that no construction has taken place at the said location.
Citrus Kalpitia raised 283 million rupees in 2011 at the time of the IPO. Much of this money came from small-time retail investors. Not long after, their share price reached a peak of 24 rupees. In the meantime, 4 years later, the company now announces that they plan to look for new investors and or a new location, maybe even in the Maldives. This is not what the investors paid for. They invested their money in a project in Kalpitia. They are now faced with a scenario where the share price is worth only 3.90 rupees, clearly having taken them on a big ride. This situation is tantamount to a breach of trust. It is now up to the SEC, led by Mr. Karunaratne, to ensure that the officers of this company are held accountable fully and that the small-time investors are taken care of.
When Newsfirst contacted Prema Kure, the chairman of Citrus Leisure PLC, he noted that the board of directors had deferred its decision on the Citrus Kalpitia project, as Kalpitia is yet to be developed as a tourist destination. The South Asia Economic Focus Report issued by the World Bank says that growth in Sri Lanka is expected to decline to 6.9% in 2015, mainly due to slowing construction activity.
According to the latest report issued by the World Bank, this trend is partially set off by consumption growth owing to increased public sector wages and high disposable income. The report goes on to say that with competitiveness remaining a challenge, the new government is reassessing the previous investment-led growth model.
I am not worried about 6.9% growth rate. It is to be expected, and we will deal with it once the new government is established and the policies going forward laid out for everyone to see. So we are confident that after the elections, when the dust settles and the new government takes control of the situation, things will pick up. And in the medium to longer term, we will see a sustainable growth rate, I'm sure, of double digits, and this time for real.
In the meantime, regional growth is projected to steadily increase from 7% in 2015 to 7.6% by 2017. The report shows that households in the region stand to gain from low oil prices, both directly through low energy spending and indirectly through faster growth.
Renowned composer and musician Nimal Mendis has passed away. The veteran musician passed away this morning at the age of 81. His remains will lie at a private funeral parlour in Colombo from tomorrow morning. The final rites will be observed on Saturday at the Jawata Public Cemetery.
Mendis, who pursued a career in music as a pianist, was instrumental in advancing the music industry in Sri Lanka as he introduced a jazz blues-inspired music trend to the industry. He revolutionized the local music industry and composed several songs for popular Sri Lankan films, which are still popular over the generations.
In 10 or 20 years, his songs will still be loved by the people. Even though he is no longer on this earth, people will love his songs.
Then 10 years, 20 years time, still.
We have lost a person who was able to put a great amount of input into the country's music and film industry. He composed music for films of serious nature and not for commercial films. So I believe that his demise will most certainly be felt for those in this genre of film.
Nimal Mendis was also one of a handful of Sri Lankan musicians to appear on the BBC television programme Top of the Pops. The late veteran musician was adjudged the winner of the OCIS award in 1979 for the music in the Asen Polavata movie and also won the Sarasavi award for the music in the Gagandhara movie in 1980. He also claims the presidential award in 1983 for his extraordinary service to the music industry. He was not only a locally celebrated artist, he was recognized for his work internationally as well.
There is a certain magic in the air.
Kiss Kiss, a song in which the music was composed by the late Nimal Mendis, was included in one of the albums of Mary Marshall.
Nimal Mendis කියන ප්‍රවීණ සංගීත අධ්‍යක්ෂකවරයා මට මුණ ගැහුණේ.
I met Nimal Mendis in 1973 when I went to sing the song Master Sir. The relationship between us lasted the way it began until his death. As a music director, he was a very humble person.
හැටියට ඔහු ඉතාමත් නිහතමානී පුද්ගලයෙක්.
He will certainly be sorely missed. Also in local news, 37 people were injured when a private bus toppled near the second mile post on the Madolsima-Passara road. The bus was plying from Madolsima to Passara this afternoon when it met with the accident. The police say that there are 23 women among the injured. The injured have been admitted to the Passara district hospital. Our correspondent says that 13 of the injured who were in critical condition were later transferred to the Badulla General Hospital.
A fire erupted at a tea factory in Nuwara this morning. Our correspondent stated that the fire spread rapidly for a few hours.
Our correspondent stated that the fire erupted at around 6 a.m. this morning in the manufacturing unit of the factory. Though efforts were made to contact the fire brigade to douse the fire, it had proved futile. Our correspondent said that the employees had eventually managed to contain the fire.
The leader of the Janaseta Peramuna, or People's Welfare Front, Venerable Batramulle Seelaratana Thera, took part in a public gathering in Hakmana today.
The residents of the Muratamure village also discussed the unavailability of drinking water in the area. The discussion was held under the patronage of the leader of the Janaseta Peramuna, Venerable Batramulle Seelaratana Thero. After eating from Mahinda Rajapaksa's government, they thought of dipping into Maithripala Sirisena's pocket. Now they have gone into the government and have filled their pockets. Their thinking now is to eat even more. It is pointless to scold these individuals. Who is voting? You are. You must decide who you cast your vote for.
2 employees of the Thammannawa Rural Hospital in Meentale have been hospitalized following an assault by 2 patients.
The hospital workers had delayed giving treatment to 2 patients who had come to the hospital last night with minor injuries. The workers claimed that they delayed treatment as they were awaiting medical advice. The impatient patients had then attacked the 2 workers with a bottle. Hospital workers and area residents staged a demonstration this morning condemning the attack.
They had caused serious injury with the bottle. One of the workers has a broken tooth. They were beaten to the point where they were unable to speak. In truth, it was the villagers that came together and saved them from being beaten to death. We ask that these people who work day and night be given some sort of police protection.
The injured hospital workers are currently being treated at the Anuradhapura hospital. The police say that the assailants have been arrested.
The ICC board today considered the implications of the appointment of an interim committee of Sri Lanka cricket by the government of Sri Lanka and whether this may be a breach of the ICC's constitution, which requires free and fair elections for office bearers within member boards.
After considerable discussion and without making a final decision on the matter, the ICC board supported a recommendation of the ICC Governance Review Committee that it should write to the Sports Minister of Sri Lanka seeking a full and proper explanation of its intervention that prima facie puts SLC in breach of the ICC's constitution. The board further decided that pending the satisfactory resolution of this matter, the next financial distribution due from the ICC to SLC will not be advanced to SLC and will instead be held in an escrow account. Notwithstanding the board's decision, Muski Mohammed, a nominee of the interim committee, was given the opportunity to provide information about the status of the interim committee, following which he was invited to attend the ICC board meeting as an observer on behalf of the interests of cricket in Sri Lanka. The ICC says that Mohammed declined to attend the meeting on these terms, and as a result, there was no representative from Sri Lanka at the meeting.